In this video, I'm just going to be going over the top setups that I see this week inside the market. First, I'm going to start off with the fundamentals and then go on to the technicals. Well, first of all, fundamentally, especially for the pairs I usually trade are GU, AU, and then I also trade US30. Last week, we had a lot of news coming out. Well, not that much, honestly. Not that much that moved the market compared to CPI, but the most important thing that happened was FOMC. They basically said for the dollar, interest rates are staying the same, and they talked about possible rate hikes, which is long term really good for the dollar, even though the DXY is falling right now. This week, well, going into this week, the main thing that I am looking forward to is GDP or prelim GDP, and then on Friday, core PCE price index for USD. GDP is pretty important just because it shows the strength of an economy and how it's doing, and for the USD, yeah, I can show the strength of it, and that correlates to the pound. For the past couple of weeks, we've seen the pound and the USD struggle against one another to see which one is like really on top, because both economies have a similar inflation story. So it's been really, I'm not gonna say hard, but it'll be like 1 week the trend is going in a certain direction, and then the next week it'll just reverse so quickly. Now let's get into the technical setups that probably gonna look up for this week. So right now, GU is inside of a very strong uptrend. Fundamental wise, I would not be taking any setups on it yet until I see red folder news happening. With the, like I said, the news I'm looking forward to with the fundamentals, just because with the DXY, the possibility of rate hikes and the Fed just keeping the inflation rate the same, I still, even though it's falling right now, long term, I still think that the DXY is gonna rise, and there are gonna be pullbacks. Not pullbacks, but we are gonna start rising once again. And until I get more news, I'm not gonna be a bull on GU. On a technical level, we came up to here on, I think it was Wednesday. It was with a daily supply. It is a daily supply, and we started rejecting. But I think next week if we can break above here, we're probably gonna continue up for a while. But I probably I won't be looking for any setups on GU, just based off what I just said. Yeah. But this week, because of also news that came out earlier inside of the UK, with their, what was that news? I think it was news happened the other day. It was their, yeah, no, it wasn't their CPI. It's their, oh yeah, their retail sales. Their retail sales had lowered. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, that's perfect news to short. So when it came up to the supply zone, I was ready to short it, but I ended up getting ran over by the market. Which, it happens sometimes. That's just why I said next week I'm gonna be a little bit more, not cautious, but I really want to see a divergence between the pound and the USD. Now let's go to Dirty 30, which is, I used to trade indices a lot when I first started, but I lost a lot of money, and I'm just getting back into trading indices. No, with US30, we are in a very heavy pullback, but it's a lot of things going into why we are pulling back so heavily right now. The first thing is if you look at yields, and if you look at the dollar as well, we are starting to pull back a little bit. Yields, which are bonds, are going a little bit higher, which means people are probably investing more inside of bonds than equities, or equities like US30. But if you look at NQ, because of data that just came out the other day of what was that company called? Nvidia, we are still in a large uptrend. So I'm kind of on the fence with US30, but if we pull back to any supply zones and yields are still growing higher and the dollar is moving up a little bit more, I'm gonna take a couple of short-term sells, especially at these supply levels, just because there's a lot of sellers decide to pull the price down. I don't like shorting US30, but if that comes to it, yeah, I'll short it for sure. And for me to switch my bias, we'd have to break structure back higher. I mean, to start looking for buys again. And lastly, we have AU, which is honestly my least favorite thing to trade, just because the way it moves, it can be really annoying sometimes. But trading is never 100%, never 100% certain. So on AU is different from GU in that the economy for the Australian economy is doing I wouldn't say worse, but a little bit worse off than the United States. So there's more of a divergence there. They're looking to cut rates earlier than the US as well. So the price of, AU has been moving lower because of that, especially the dollar slowly creeping up. So AU this week, easy. Be probably AU and US30 the main things that I trade. Especially if we have more good dollar news. I just see us tumbling over and creating more breaks of structure lower. And I'm probably gonna get into some supply zones, most likely, and just be a bear on AU for a while. Oh yeah, these are the main things I trade. I also look at other things, like I look at the DXY. DXY, we've been moving lower because of CPI cooling. Once CPI came out, like that it was cooling, and the economy also cooling a little bit. Those numbers that came out earlier made the price of the dollar just tank. Just tank. Because people are anticipating, because of all that, rate cuts would happen. But now we're starting to pull back once again a little bit more because the Fed said, oh, rate cuts maybe won't happen as soon as we think they might happen. And yeah, so right now I just see us like, even though we look like very bearish, we could break below here, but I have to see us break below this daily demand level because we just reacted off of it, which shows that buyers are still strong. So I just see us buying with the DXY. And the last thing is gold. Now, I was trading gold, but I just don't like the way that it moves. Like, I don't like the way it reacts to my supply or demand levels at all. The price, but it could be a monster of you can get really good R&R on it. But the price of gold has, like, we rose all the way here because Israel and Iran conflict that was going on and a couple other things. But now, because of all that calming down, then we have the DXY sort of moving higher, which is inverse to gold. We're just tanking now once again. I don't really see anything happening, honestly, but I just see this as a pullback for gold, honestly, if we look at the daily. I don't really like shorting. Even if I traded gold, I would not be shorting it at all. Yeah. So that was my trading forecasting for this week. This week is pretty calm, to be honest with you. It's last week of the month. After that week, we have NFP, which is always a very volatile week, especially for me. This week we just have two events, which is Thursday and Friday, which I'm looking forward to. See if anything shows in the market. And yeah.